Hello, am I audible, Akash?
Yes, ma'am.
How many students are there in MDS?
17.
17. That's a pretty good
And in
number.
first year. In first year.
First year, yeah, the fresh admissions. So the number of seats have increased, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
How many internal and how many externals?
I'm not sure,
You,
ma'am.
you are external.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. From which place?
I'm West Bengal.
West Bengal. Okay, Ganguly. I get it. So how are you adjusting to this place? Is
Ma'am,
it okay
I'm
or
trying to
difficult?
adjust, ma'am.
Trying to
It's
adjust.
okay.
You might not
Yes,
be getting fish in that ample amount.
yes, ma'am.
So you did your BDS from which place?
RMH in Calcutta.
Okay. So I'm going to teach you people face, nose, and palate. Development of face, nose, and palate. I'll try to complete it in this 1 hour. It's a big topic. Something might be left. Then I'll post that PPT in the this thing WhatsApp group. If anything is left out, you can go through. Okay. Dhanush. Hello. Excuse me. Shall we wait for other participants to join and then we'll start within 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to share the screen so that Those who are internals, which batch are they from?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, we are actually from different batches. Some are of 2014, some of 15, and some are of 13.
Okay, so you might have studied development of face, nose, and palate when I was talking about systemic embryology in BDS.
Yes,
Do you remember?
yes, ma'am, in first year.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just a brush up of your previous knowledge because face, nose, and palate development remains the same. There's nothing new in development. So those who have gone through that lecture, I mean, you might not be able to recall it, but it will definitely revise. So it's a PowerPoint presentation. I won't be able to draw the diagrams, but still we can have a presentation where you can recall your previous knowledge and study. So shall I start now? We have already waited for 5 minutes and it's a big topic. We can't leave all those things. So your topic, as we have already talked about, is development of face, nose, and palate. And those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Farah Oz, working as professor in the Department of Anatomy, Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College. The learning objectives for today's class. By the end of the class, you should be able to describe the development of face, nose, palate, and the anatomical basis of the associated anomalies related to their development. Now here, this is a side view of the developing embryo. This is a cranial end, or you can say when we talk about embryology, it is the cephalic end. So the developing brain and the pericardium, they form two important bulgings over here. I'll use a pointer. They form two important bulgings on the ventral aspect of the embryo. This is the ventral aspect of the embryo. And this mesoderm, which is covering the brain, developing brain, it forms a hook-like projection. As you can see here, this is a hook-like projection. And this hook-like projection is given the name of frontonasal process, or in some books, yes. So it is given as process in Inderbeer Singh's embryology, but in Langman's it is written as frontonasal prominence. So both are correct. You can use either of the two depending upon whatever you find convenient. So this hook-like projection covers the upper part of the stomodium. Stomodium is future mouth. Okay, so this is stomodium separated by the buccopharyngeal membrane. And this frontonasal prominence is overhanging it. Now, by the end of the 4th week, 5 facial prominences develop. One we have already talked about, that is the frontonasal prominence. It is hook-like projection. This one is frontonasal prominence. Okay. Then there are 2 paired prominences. One is maxillary prominence on either side. See this one. This is the maxillary prominence. And the lower down, there are 2 mandibular prominences forming the lower jaw and lower lip, right? Now, when we talk about the further development, frontonasal prominences, they have local thickenings of the surface ectoderm, that is the nasal plecodes. See, this is the nasal pit diagram earlier to it. You can see that these are the nasal plecodes. Okay, these nasal plecodes are responsible for the formation of medial nasal prominence and lateral nasal prominence, as you can see here. See, this nasal plecode, that is the local thickening of the surface ectoderm, it invaginates, and you can see those 2 depressions on either side. See, these are the nasal pits. Now, when the pits are formed, suppose if you are digging a hole in the ground, that hole is surrounded by the pile of soil on either side of that hole. That, in this case, is that hole is named as nasal pit, and the surrounding structure, that is the soil, is divided into two prominences. As a whole, this is known as nasal prominence, but this nasal prominence is divided into medial nasal prominence and lateral nasal prominence, as you can see here. See, two different colors are shown here. Yellow one is the medial nasal prominence, again a paired structure, and the blue are the lateral nasal prominences. Then we have two maxillary prominences shown in orange and the mandibular prominences joined together in the midline to form the lower jaw and lower lip. So this is the week-wise distribution shown here. Nasal placodes and lens placodes, that is responsible for the development of eye, is formed in the 4th week of fetal-uterine life. Then the nasal pits are formed a week later. That is, the nasal placodes, they sink and nasal pits are formed. Surrounding them is the medial and lateral nasal prominences. Now, these lateral nasal prominences and the medial nasal prominences we have already talked about. They increase in size in the next 2 weeks, and these maxillary prominences, see, as you can see in this picture, the orange structures, that is the maxillary prominences, they are compressing the medial nasal prominences in the midline. These medial nasal prominences come together in the midline, fuse, and at the same time enlarge also. Now, this medial nasal prominence is responsible for the formation of philtrum of the upper lip. Can you all see here? And able to understand also at the same time? Yes? Aarti, are you getting it? Am
Yes,
I
ma'am.
audible and clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So this is the medial nasal prominences combined and fused together in the midline, at the same time increasing in size and forming the philtrum of the upper lip. So this frontal nasal prominence is forming the forehead, medial nasal prominence is forming the philtrum of the upper lip, whereas the maxillary prominences, they are responsible for the formation of cheek and lateral part of the upper lip on either sides. As you can see in the picture.
मैंने कॉल कर दिया आज.
Subsequently, the cleft between the medial nasal prominence and maxillary prominence is lost. So the fusion occurs between the two. As you can see here, the fusion occurs between the two. Finally, this is normal development. If anyhow the fusion does not take place, then it becomes cleft lip. It could be unilateral or bilateral. Means fusion of one side has not happened, then it will be unilateral cleft lip. And if both the sides fusion has not taken place, then it will be bilateral cleft lip. So here is the development of upper lip. As you can see here, it starts in the 4th week and completes by 7th week because of the fusion of maxillary and the medial nasal prominences. Then facial prominences are separated by grooves, and later on smoothing occurs. In the formation of upper lip, lateral nasal prominences are not contributing to the upper lip. See, this is lateral nasal prominence. Because of the enlargement and growth of the medial nasal prominence and coming together in the midline, this medial nasal prominence is contributing to the formation of upper lip by forming the philtrum. But lateral nasal prominence is not contributing. This is again the picture or diagrammatic representation of whatever we have discussed till now. That is the maxillary and the medial nasal prominences responsible for the formation of upper lip. The lower lip is again from the mandibular prominences which come together and fuse in the midline. This is how the mandibular prominences are forming the lower lip. Then comes the development of cheeks and maxillae. Now cheeks, as you can see, they are developing from the maxillary prominences as a whole. But there is one condition. Maxillary prominences are separated from the lateral nasal prominences by a groove. That groove is nasolacrimal groove. Why the nasolacrimal groove is named so? Because nasolacrimal duct is formed at this place. This groove converts into duct and cranial end is opening into the eye, medial canthus of eye, to form the lacrimal sac, whereas the caudal end of this nasolacrimal duct is opening into the inferior meatus of nose. So there is communication between the eye and the nose. That is why when you cry, there is running of nose also, because of this nasolacrimal duct having communication of the eye with the nose. Is it clear? Hello? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Now coming to the nose. Nose is formed from 5 facial prominences. Frontal one is giving rise to the bridge of nose. Frontal prominence or the frontonasal prominence. Then the medial nasal prominences, they come together in the midline and form the crest and tip of the nose, whereas the lateral nasal prominences are responsible for the formation of ala of nose. So if you see the picture here, this is the bridge of nose, then crest and tip of nose by the medial nasal prominences, and ala of nose by the lateral nasal prominences. This is how this portion, see, it enlarges and forms the ala of nose. These are the ala of nose. Ala is singular, ale is plural. This is summary of how the face is formed. Frontonasal prominence is unpaired, forming the forehead and bridge along with the medial and lateral prominences. Then maxillary prominences forms the cheek, lateral part of the upper lip, that is except the philtrum. Then there is palate also contributing. 2 medial nasal prominences, they form and merge in the midline to form the crest and tip of nose along with the philtrum of the upper lip. Then there is nasal septum also. Lateral nasal prominences forming the nasolacrimal duct between the lateral nasal prominence and the maxillary prominences along with the ala of nose. Mandibular prominences forming the lower lip. So this is the revision of whatever we have discussed till now. And this is the picture showing you all the structures. Now coming to the palate. Palate is basically derived from 2 components, primary palate and secondary palate. When we talk about the palate, intermaxillary segment is very important. Intermaxillary, as the name suggests, it is present between the 2 maxillary prominences. So the medial growth of the maxillary prominences, it is occurring at the surface as well as at the deeper level. Now this intermaxillary segment is composed of, see, intermaxillary segment is this one, and these are the maxillary prominences. So intermaxillary segment is composed of labial component, upper jaw component, and the palatal component from anterior to posterior. So this labial component is responsible for the philtrum of the upper lip. This is philtrum. Then there is jaw component, carries 4 incisors, and the palatal component is the primary palate. So this intermaxillary segment enlarges and carries these structures. The maxillary prominences are these, and they grow in the midline to form the secondary palate, as well as it fuses with the primary palate at front. So this exactly is the primary palate, and this one is the secondary palate that is growing from the maxillary prominences in the midline. Here this is shown, the primary palate and secondary palate, how are they formed? Then they meet and fuse and ossify later on to form the hard palate. Now, maxillary prominences are giving rise to two midline shelves, though they are known as palatine shelves. See, you can see it in this picture. These are the maxillary prominences, and they give rise to a median shelf on each side. That is, it's again bilateral, or you can say it is paired. These are named as palatine shelves. They are actually obliquely downwards, like this. They are initially like this, and the tongue is above. Now, when the tongue falls and they straighten up and come to fuse in the midline to form the secondary palate. So these palatine shelves, they come together in the midline and fuse with each other along with the fusion with the primary palate, right? So this is the primary palate. You can see my pointer, and the fusion is with the primary palate as well as with each other to form the palate as a whole. As you can see in this arrow diagram, maxillary prominences, they form two horizontal mesenchymal projections, and this is lateral palatine process. They fuse with each other with primary palate and with nasal septum, finally forming the secondary palate. This palatine shelves, they appear at 6th week of intrauterine life, and as I've told you, they are obliquely downwards. And then they ascend to attain a horizontal position a week later above the tongue to form the secondary palate. This diagram I have taken, this is a line diagram so that you can easily reproduce it. And this is from Indabir Singh. See, maxillary prominences, the palatine shelves, they come in the midline, fuse with each other, with the nasal septum and with the secondary palate. Sorry, the primary palate. This is finally how the structure is there. Primary palate, secondary palate, and this posteriormost part is the soft palate. The nasal cavities, how are they formed? Nasal cavities are again formed in the 6th week of intrauterine life when the nasal pits, they deepen. Go back to the previous knowledge of those nasal placoids which form the nasal pits. There's those nasal pits, they deepen, and there is oronasal membrane. See, this is oronasal membrane. And this one is the nasal pit. This nasal pit deepens, and here there is formation of primary palate. So separation between the nasal cavity and the oral cavity starts by the formation of primary palate or the primitive palate. And this one is the tongue over here. So when this grows, anterior nares are formed, and this nasal sac is ultimately separating the oral cavity by the bucconasal membrane. And this one is the stomodium. The primitive palate is the separating or demarcating structure between the oral cavity and the nasal cavity. Finally, these membranes, they rupture and posterior nares are formed. So this one is the posterior nare, anterior opening is already there. So these are the anterior nares and these are the posterior nares. And then the cornea are formed, which lie immediately behind the primary palate, and then there's formation of secondary palate. So the definitive cornea are at the junction of the nasal cavity with the pharynx. See, this is the nasal cavity and the pharynx, and then shelves appear over here in the nasal cavity, so that there are formation of corny. Is it clear? Shall we move ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, the similar thing, the nasal septum development is shown here with the, excuse me, conky and corner. This is a line diagram to show you how the nasal septum is formed. The frontonasal prominence is compressed in the midline because of these nasal sac enlargement, and then the separation between the two is there. Anteriorly, it is remaining as such, whereas posteriorly, the bucconasal membrane disappears so that there is communication with the nasal cavity and the oral cavity. Okay. So A and C are correlated, whereas the B and D are correlated. Now we come to the anomalies related to the development of face. How this oblique facial cleft is formed. There's lack of fusion between the maxillary prominences and lateral nasal prominences, so that the nasolacrimal groove as such remains open. There's fusion is not taking place. This is oblique facial cleft. See, it is extending from the middle canthus of the eye and going to the nose, involving the upper lip also. So there is developmental defect over here. Then there is lens placode is single. In that case, the nose is also missing and there is proboscis. Means the frontonasal prominence that has not divided. It remains as such and there is single median eye instead of being bilateral. So bilateral structures are not developed because of the non-division of frontonasal prominence. Okay. Then we talk about the cleft lip and palate. Cleft lip, as I've already told you, when we were talking about the development of face, it occurs when the medial nasal prominence and the maxillary prominences, they are not able to fuse, so that there may be defect either unilateral or bilateral defect. This defect is very common. It is almost present in 1 in 1,000 births. And in Native Americans, this is the statistics only. In Native Americans, the rate is around 4 times increase to this. So severity of the cleft lip and palate may cause death if the baby is unable to feed. There could be speech impediments also, infections in the ear. All those complications may occur. So cleft lip is because of the non-fusion of medial nasal prominence with the maxillary prominence, and cleft palate may occur in isolation when the palatine shelves, they this is how they are. So if they fail to fuse with each other or they fail to ascend up, then the cleft palate is formed. These are the varieties of facial clefts. There could be large mouth because of the maxillary and mandibular prominences not fusing properly. Then there could be median cleft lip, that is, two medial nasal prominences are unable to fuse. And then the defect will be at the level of crest and tip of nose, along with the bridge of nose and the philtrum. Midline defect will be there. Oblique facial cleft means the two maxillary prominences have failed to fuse with the lateral nasal prominences. This is again unilateral and bilateral cleft lip. That is, the defect is only at the surface. There is no deeper defect. Means the cleft palate is not there. Only the cleft lip is there. This is how the anatomical basis is shown here. Another picture showing the cleft lip. cleft lip is common, more common in males on the left side. And anomalies of the palate. It could be anteriorly and it could extend up to the secondary palate, even up to the soft palate, as you can see here in the picture. That is just the cleft lip is there. It could be unilateral or bilateral. Then it might extend up to the cleft palate level. That is, the palatine shells have not fused. Different pictures are there. Normal lip, unilateral, bilateral, cleft lip, as well as palate. Here are some of the videos we can watch. Are you able to see these videos? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay,
ma'am.
okay, fine. See how the development is taking place. That was a bit faster, but that's how it happens. I mean, it's not that fast. These are the different variations which are shown in the lip as well as in palate. These are the different factors responsible for the formation of cleft palate. Toxins are playing a very important role. Everything is adulterated nowadays. So these are one of the important factors. And it is more common in males. And this rule of 10 is very important. That is, you can operate when it is hemoglobin is 10 grams, 10 weeks of age, and 10 pounds in weight. Another video. This is already the previous video recall only, or whatever we have studied. So I think we can skip this video and have another video. See, this is how the development is shown. This is, they have shown the repair of cleft lip and palate. This is about the development of nasal cavities. So we have already discussed the anomalies related to these. This is an animation showing you the development of face. See. We can revise this video again. I hope development of face, nose, and palate is clear to you now, along with the associated anomalies. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm stopping the screen sharing. Kindly attend your roll calls. I mean, tell me your roll numbers. I don't have your roll numbers or your names exactly. So you can either tell me your names or you can tell me your roll numbers.
Ma'am, Tuba Qazi.
Qazi. Next.
I'm sure.
Zeba Ambreen is there.
Yes, ma'am.
Nihal Ahmad is there. Nihal Ahmad. Nihal.
नहीं हूँ
जी.